Hello, it's Mark Webb here again from Webb's of Weybridge Classic Car Hire. Today we're looking at the MGA we've got in our fleet for self-drive hire. I'm going to, in this video, just show you a few do's and don'ts, how to put the roof up and down, how to start and stop the car, just general driving techniques for her so you're safe on the road. So here we have our 1959 MGA. She is a 1.6 rear-wheel drive. She's a 5-speed manual. She's got the uprated, more modern gearbox, so she's much easier to drive than the old-fashioned 4-speed. And she is in very good condition considering how old she is, and a lot of fun to drive. So these videos are designed for people that haven't got as much time as usual to go through all the controls, and as a reference point for how to start, stop the car, and all the controls, putting the roof up and down. Normally we have a lot of weddings, and it comes in especially useful, and for obviously birthday surprises as well, for people that haven't got the chance to have that proper checkout. It also helps with the social distancing measures that we're all adopting now, so you can review this video as often as you like. With some classics you have 2 keys, with the MGA just the 1, and it's always good fun watching people trying to get in for the first time, as it has no door handles, you'll notice. Which is always good fun. Now underneath the doors, under here, there is a cable, and you pull that down to release the door. Same goes with the driver's side, obviously. So you reach behind, pull that cable down, and it's as simple as that. Once you're into the nice cream leather interior, you'll notice it's got a lovely motor-liter steering wheel here, and there's a series of gauges, switches and controls, which will be a little unfamiliar because it's an older car. So first thing to note, we get the key, we pop it into the ignition, which is up here. We turn it one side to the right, you'll see the fuel come up, and that means that we have power. Once the power is on, you'll see these all have letters. Now what we're looking for just to start the car is this one here, which is S to start. Now this, you pull this to start the car, so make sure you're in neutral, make sure the key is on, giving the car power. You give this a pull, you'll start, and you blip the accelerator and then just let go. So pull and let go. To turn the car off, again, some people do ask, but it's a question asked more than once. You just simply turn the key, you'll see the gauges drop back down. Whilst we're here, we'll go through these controls, obviously. W quite simply means windscreen wipers. They're all pull and push motion. This is the jet to squirt the windows to clean it with. C is choke. You'll need a little bit of that when it's cold, first thing in the morning. After about 5 minutes, push her back in and she'll be at good temperature. L, again, for lights. You pull that up once, twice, for side and full. And whilst we're on the lights, you'll see down on the floors, a bit hard to see. Actually, it's quite clear. This switch here is to switch between full beam and dip beam. So if you're looking at these pedals, you've got the accelerator, obviously, clutch and the brake, and then to the side here, full beam, dip beam, as it was with most classics. Continuing up here, we've got F for the fog lights, again a pull and a push. Down here we've got the start. Again, this will not start the car if you have not got the power on, so that's sometimes we get phone calls about that. These are the vents for the heating. The most important thing to note is cold and warm. Now you can actually pull and push this as a switch for a fan, but I wouldn't recommend mucking around with the heating too much. When you've got the roof off, it doesn't matter anyway. In the winter, just keep it set on hot. Over here we've got the gauges, we've got the temperature, which should read when it's running around 160 to 190. If it goes up past 212, which is boiling point in Fahrenheit, just switch her off, let it cool down. But again, this has got an uprated radiator, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. Down here we have a cooling fan. When this goes orange, it means it's on and it's doing its job. It's automatic, you shouldn't need to turn that on, but that will assist in cooling. Coming across, obviously, speedo. We've got the P button up here, and that is for the panel, so that changes the brightness of the panel, and a little unnecessary. Finally, we've got the indicators. A bit confusing, people get confused by this, but you have to swing it to the right to indicate right. You have to self-correct it down, and you swing it to the left to indicate left, and then again self-right it. Those are the indicators. finally we have this big vent here. Obviously this is for a stereo. This car doesn't have the stereo, but in the middle we've got a horn. So here we are in the cockpit, just to show you the gears. It's got 5-speed, this one. So traditional, it's not marked on the top. So you go left and up for first and second, back to the middle for third and fourth, and obviously to the far right for fifth. Reverse in this one is a pressing down, across and up. It's 11 o'clock. So you press down, across and up for reverse. So putting the roof on classics is always good fun. For this one, it's fairly straightforward. What we need to do first of all is open the doors, and we rock these two seats forwards. So they don't need any levers to rock forward, they simply rock forwards like that. We've got a little leather flap here. We'll just put that over the top to expose the roof. Now the roof folds and rocks around the top of the car and then fastens onto the windscreen. Just be very careful when you're putting the whole roof mechanism forward that we don't snag any of the roof here on the hinge. So what we need to do is just carefully rock her forwards and make sure we get all this material past the hinge mechanism. Same on the other side. Once we have the metal frame upright, you can then first of all secure this metal bar. If you turn it over, you'll see there are parts here to go into these two clips. So we bring her back and we slot her in, so she's all hanging off the back. Once that's secured on the back, you then need to extend the front across the car and just rest her on the windscreen. That's her extended across. You'll just need to move the bar underneath into a good position so that you have good form now with the roof. Then we put the poppers on each side. These poppers push over the chrome bits there, and if you find that they're not fitting well, you just need to make sure that this bar has been put in centrally. Each popper just pushes on and over. That's such, and the last one is a push and a twist, and just do that for the other side, and then go into the car, and you can then fix the interior down. So we're inside the car. You'll see there are 2 locating pins, and there are 2 holes for them to go into up in here. Just make sure that slots in on one side and the other, and there should be no gap at all. We can do the central clip, and then with this pulled down, you tighten the nuts up to stop the roof going anywhere. That's over the roof on. Now obviously you'll notice there are no windows, so what we need to do is get the windows out of the back. To get into the boot, there's a hidden lever. It's behind the passenger seat. Let me adjust the brightness here, see if we can see it. There we are. So you just pull this lever here, you'll hear a clunk, which has released the boot. And in here you'll find the windows. Now to support this up, there's a metal bar here, which you can disconnect and pop into this hole bottom corner. The window has a clip at the bottom and a locating pin which clips into the front here, and the locating pin in the back. Be very careful not to scratch the car when she goes in. So pin in the back, and then we just got to position this bit into the front here, loosen that a bit, push her into place and tighten that up, and that is it. Security on this car, a little non-existent. To lock it, close the door and shut the window. It does not lock. And there she is. Looks just as good with the roof on. Nice and dry. Removing the roof is pretty much the reverse. The only difference is when you are lifting these off, be careful not to tear anything. If you read very carefully, it says lift the dot, which means we're just going to pull that from the dot underneath, and that's how they pop off. Also be very careful when you're folding the roof back behind the seats. Just take your time with it as not to rip the fabric. Fuel on the MGA is unleaded. Pretty straightforward obviously. Again here we've got the fuel cap, which you just lift, fill up, don't overfill it, and then just close it, just clip it back into place. Very easy. So I've run through all the controls in the car, showed you how to start and stop her, and obviously take the roof up and down, and hopefully you'll have a bit more confidence now before you head out on the road. Obviously we're always there if you have any questions regarding the car, so feel free to give us a call anytime. Be careful when you first get out there. She doesn't have ABS or power steering or anything of the modern comforts that we're all used to, so just give yourself twice as much time as you would for doing any manoeuvres, and twice as much distance between you and the car in front, and ultimately have fun, enjoy her. She's an amazing car.